Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finale video. Whole bunch of stuff we need to talk about. We know a little bit about what's going on in Season 3, especially with some of the big WTFs from the episode. In case you guys didn't hear about it too, obviously Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is coming back for Season 3, but Agent Carter was also renewed for Season 2, so I'll be doing videos for that when it comes back in January. So I'm just going to start with the really big stuff first. Careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode. Let's talk about fish oil. As silly as this plot point is, this was kind of like the workaround to the Terrigen bomb. So think of it as the TV version of the Terrigen bomb in the comics during Marvel's Infinity event a couple years ago. Black Bolt released a Terrigen bomb transforming all kinds of people all over the earth into Inhumans. They said they did it the fish way to get around the metal bits part. Doing an actual Terrigen bomb would have made Inhuman transformations much more obvious. They wanted it to be a little more subtle. They want to be a little more selective about who becomes Inhumans. Bombs tend to be a little more indiscriminate and raise a lot more questions because then you have to address, why isn't the news talking about a giant bomb that went off? So you can see as integrated as the TV shows are with the movies, there's just some things they're not quite ready to roll that hard on yet. So lots more Inhumans coming next season. Project Caterpillar, that special folder that Coulson gave to Skye, that's going to be like the Secret Warriors team that they put together next season. If you haven't read the Secret Warriors storyline, it's a big Daisy Johnson storyline, which is the character that Skye is. Her codename is Quake. That rose out of Secret Invasion, so that's actually a pretty old storyline. But it's a lot of fun, and they're taking a lot of inspiration from it. They're repurposing a lot of elements, so it's not going to be a carbon copy of Secret Warriors. But that's what Secret Caterpillar Project is all about. Caterpillars turn into butterflies, you get the metaphor. They'll find Inhumans that will blossom into fully functioning members of S.H.I.E.L.D., well-adjusted members of S.H.I.E.L.D. On the other side of that coin, you have Ward, who's putting together his evil team. He's not a new head of Hydra, that's not what he's doing. He's just picking the best bits of Hydra that are still left around to put together a team. Think of his team as more like an evil version of Howling Commandos. I know they said that all the heads of Hydra are gone. Baron von Strucker died in Avengers Age of Ultron. All the other ones are either missing or dead. This is where Baron Zemo rises from. He's rumored to be one of the big villains of Captain America Civil War, so we're not going to hear about him till next year. They just included all that Ward dialogue to let you know that they're not going to keep going back to Hydra as a source for storyline. That's one of the things I feel like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has done really well. Build itself its own universe so that it doesn't have to keep borrowing from the Avengers. The executive producer said that they're trying to try to create their own superheroes. Daisy Johnson obviously is someone from the comics. They will always continue to be people from the comics that they do on the TV show, but they're not going to be as dependent as they have been in the past. Like last season, they made a big deal about really depending on that Samuel L. Jackson cameo at the end. What about the special blueprints that Fitz is working on for Coulson? Those are like the new Quinjets. It's kind of hard to tell, but when you look at the Quinjet from Age of Ultron, it's also an updated design. So, they're just getting like slightly better tech each year. Speaking of resources, obviously Coulson's secret project last year was all about making that new helicarrier. This year, they had the whole real S.H.I.E.L.D. versus S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff going on. Now it's just one S.H.I.E.L.D. Coulson is back at the top. I was a huge fan of Edward James Olmos. I thought he worked great on the show for the storyline that he was a part of, but I don't feel like he fits really well into that world, so it makes sense that they kill him off. One of the big things I'm looking forward to in Season 3 that I think is going to course correct S.H.I.E.L.D. a little bit as a show is the inclusion of all these extra superpowered people. It's just a really easy direction to go for more action, more comedy based on awkwardness with powers. And when you watch a superhero show, you expect to see spectacle along with human drama. S.H.I.E.L.D. does human drama great. Like all the bits like the Fitzsimmons stuff, those moments are the best. I feel like it does that better than any of the other comic book shows. But you look at a show like The Flash, it just does spectacle way better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm talking like acid trip, mind-blowing special effects. Not like the crazy CG porn that you see in Age of Ultron, not like that level, but you get the idea. You watch a superhero show, you expect to see superpowers. Along those lines, what about the obelisk? It totally ate Simmons at the end. From the interview that I read with the actress, she is not dead. She thinks, the actress thinks that it transported her somewhere, but the producers haven't told her anything. So don't assume that Simmons is dead. She's either like in there somewhere, or it just transported her somewhere else. Just like you'd expect, that was my biggest WTF from the episode, along with Coulson getting his arm chopped off. It's just like the whip pan from last season where Coulson splattered Garrett. What'll probably happen is that in episode 1, they'll address Simmons, and we'll find out whether or not the actress is still on the show. Like, they'll probably tease that out. They did that this season too. Simmons was away, we didn't know where she was, and it turned out they'd planted her in Hydra, and they didn't tell Fitz about it. So what about the rest of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Bobby and Hunter, I know it sounded like they're leaving S.H.I.E.L.D., like they were going to do a spin-off series. That was what that moment was shot for, where she's like, I can't do this anymore. That was kind of intended to set up the spin-off, which they decided not to pick up. Supposedly, there's still a chance that it might happen, but I'm not planning on it. So there will be more Bobby and Hunter next year, and probably more Ming-Na, even though it seemed like Agent May left too. In the context of the story, she just went on a long vacation. She's always been so uptight, so like that's why she was smiling so much at the end of the episode. She's just like having the big chill. She's probably gonna go smoke a lot of pot. We have to talk about Skye's dad too. He was absolutely ridiculous in this episode. You know, in a good and bad way. He is playing a comic book character. His character in the comics is called Mr. Hyde. He turns into a big Mr. Hyde person. The formula, also right out of the comics, it's like the poor man's version of a super soldier serum. Kyle MacLachlan, though, just feels like he doesn't fit in this comic book universe. Like he was way too over the top. Maybe some of you liked how silly he got, but it just felt a little weird to me. Kyle MacLachlan works better in like the Twin Peaks universe, where he is the Agent Coulson person. That's kind of who his character is in the Twin Peaks universe. He is like the Phil Coulson of Twin Peaks. One of the other things that really surprised me was the left turn with Skye's mom. Deacon Lockman was also on The 100. She kind of played a similar type character, so I'm surprised I didn't see that coming. It's kind of sad that they had to sacrifice Raina for this storyline, but I think that they just didn't want to give Skye an asset that would give her too much power. Seeing the future is a huge advantage, so I think, they just want to keep the characters from getting overpowered. They like the idea of these protagonists not knowing what's coming next, and when you have a character that can tell you what's coming next, it takes away a lot of the suspense. If you guys watch The Walking Dead at all, that's actually kind of how the writers think on that series. When someone gets a little too overpowered, becomes too much of a safety net for the other characters, they usually try to take that away. So the minute someone on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. feels like they get too invincible, they're probably going to be the one to die that season. Coulson, very clearly not invincible. What is he going to replace his hand with, though? How about a vibranium claw? If we're going to get Black Panther and Wakanda is going to integrate with the rest of the Marvel Universe in Civil War, chances are we'll get our hands on a lot more vibranium. Seriously though, he's probably going to get a Stark Tech hand and they'll just make it look like a normal hand, like life model decoy hand. Just looking at it from a practical standpoint, the TV show isn't going to do anything that's going to require Coulson to put like extensive makeup on every single week. It'll be some funny Patton Oswalt type explanation, so he'll still look like Coulson, but underneath he'll be part robot. Here's my big question for you guys. What was your favorite moment from the finale, and what are you most looking forward to in Season 3? What fish oil Inhumans are you looking forward to? Seriously, everybody be sure to go out and start buying Marvel brand fish oil pills. What's probably going to happen is because there's like a lot of brand new TV shows that are releasing material this week, so I want to do all those videos. So I'm probably going to do S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3 next week. Just looking at the roster, here's what we have in terms of Marvel TV that's coming up. Jessica Jones, that's probably coming up later this year. They haven't announced an official premiere date yet. There's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3, Agent Carter Season 2, Daredevil Season 2. That's going to be next year, right around the time Captain America premieres. And then sometime after that same year, probably Luke Cage. They've already cast Luke Cage, but most of the production right now that's been going on has been Jessica Jones. He will be in the Jessica Jones series though. Luke Cage will be in Jessica Jones. Be sure to subscribe to get all that stuff. If there's anything you guys want me to do first in terms of bonus videos besides Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3, just let me know in the comments. Other big things happening this week. So they just made some big announcements about Supergirl on CBS. Arrow has its finale tonight, so I'll be doing a video for that just like normal. The Flash finale is next week, and the CW upfronts are going to be on Thursday, this Thursday. They'll be making a bunch of announcements about the Legends of Tomorrow spin-off series, like the Justice League team-up show they're doing. Whatever they end up announcing, I'll do bonus videos for it, so don't worry. I will have some more Ant-Man and Captain America videos coming up. You can actually click here to learn about what's going on with Captain America Civil War, and you can click here to catch up on last night's episode of The Flash if you haven't seen that yet. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.